Hi, John.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on our
Oh, I'm
podcast.
stoked to be here. How fun.
I'm stoked to have you. So we met in a kind of a funny way. I was a podcast guest on somebody else's podcast. I don't think ever came to fruition.
No, I think it did. Did it?
I don't think so.
I
I never saw it.
Yeah, I edited it and I sent it to the client, but yeah, I think it's out there. I'll send it to you.
Okay, I haven't seen anything about it.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a while ago. And
Now look at us.
yeah, but it was so funny because she was like, "Oh, I've known John since forever, since high school, I think." And she was like, "His band played at my birthday party or something like that." And then I was,
She had her. It just happened to coincide. I didn't know her then,
oh,
but our band played in Lompoc,
mhm.
where she was growing up, and then all her friends went there. Well, I
Okay.
didn't know Xena until Ojai.
Okay.
Much later, but yeah, it
Okay.
was.
That's so funny. So I was like, "Wait, what band?" And you're like, "I don't know if you would know it." And I was like, "Well, what is it?" And then you're like, "Ill Repute." I'm like, "Dude, fuck off."
Well, it's pretty, especially as time goes on. It's pretty it's pretty, gets more and more obscure as we go, but it's cool.
I know,
I
but
mean,
you never know who you're talking to. We're hidden. We're scattered about.
yeah, and I've had a couple times where I would meet somebody that I had this musician, and they would say something that they liked the band, and it would just truly blow my mind, because you know pretty much everything that we did that anyone cares about really was all when I was 18, 19, 20, so it was a long time ago.
Mhm.
And so it's pretty far back there. And then so like I went to go see Helmet. And who else? And I was watching the drummer, and the drummer was just crushing. And then afterwards, I was with the drummer of Ill Repute too, and he brought it up, and the guy goes, "Oh man," he starts like quoting the songs and stuff, and I'm just like, "Wow," But anyway, it's kind of, yeah, it's always kind of cool when you hear that. But yeah, that was fun.
I mean, so because you guys were kind of one of the pioneers of Nardcore, right? So, like, tell me how that kind of all evolved into what it is now.
Well, it's funny because the guys in the band were my good friends in school, and I knew Jim, the bassist, lived across the street from us when I was 10. So we kind of knew each other. And then as things went on, we got turned on the punk, and it was it was pretty powerful. As so we were listening to things like Joplin and Cheap Trick, and then I got into Devo, and so we were skaters and surfers, and all of a sudden we got a hold of some. I think for me it was I got a stack from this guy Tom Niemeyer, who ended up in The Accused. Remember them from Seattle? Great band. But he gave me a stack to listen to of records, and one of it had like Buzzcocks and stuff, but Sex Pistols, a lot of the early stuff, 999. But then in there was a Dickies album, and it was fast, and I heard that, and I took it, and we showed all our friends, and then someone had Black Flag, Jealous Again, and Dead Kennedys, and and Circle Jerks, Group 6, and it was like boom, it was over. But we all discovered it at the same time, and then we started forming the band. Like we said, wow, we should start a band. None of us had ever thought about it before, but so over the course of a year or so, we jumped on it, and that's how it started, just very organically, because it seemed like life was quite different back then, without any kind of digital stimulation. You had like 8 channels on the TV, so it's a trip to think back, and you come home to an answering machine to see. So every minute of the day you were just way more present. Just even knowing that in our pocket we have everyone we know, and access to any information, just even knowing that kind of just skews things a bit.
Sure.
But anyway, so
you have to run in a circle and beat each other up to feel alive.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was really cool that when I think about the way it started and how we were just old friends. We were all in high school, together, and so it, it kind of organically just sort of formed. So what was the question? How it all kind of came about? But yeah, so then we formed our band, unknowing what was going on in Oxnard, in other places of Oxnard, and then I remember we heard there was some show and we went to it, and it was Dr. No playing, and then we met those guys. And we're like, what? There's other bands in town? It's also also for the younger viewers, no internet, no nothing. So you don't find out about. The only way you find out was from a fanzine or something, which we didn't get our hands on yet. So then we met them, and then we started going to these parties at this place, Art and Joey's place in Oxnard, and that's where we met Aggression and the people that it soon would be Stalag 13, and all the Nardcore bands as we know it. So, and we such a great bunch of people that it was a really tight knit scene, and it still is with the younger folks, and older folks. But and that it was just interesting how we were already a band and playing, and so we just sort of all got introduced to each other, kind of at the same time. Aggression was going for maybe a year or so, and they were obvious. It was very obvious that they were, they were ahead of the game, and they were very skilled. They were musicians, and so, when I look back, we just had to rely on, kind of a certain style or aggression or something that, not the band Aggression, but just sort of like an aggressive attack that, and I think that's sort of what, we all kind of had our own sort of style back then. But it was really good. We all got along. There was never any real competitions, or anything. It was so fun.
I mean, are you surprised kind of like how it's become like this legendary kind of thing?
Yeah. It is surprising, and I think about it, and I think when it comes to a band like us, a lot of it has to do with timing, because it was when punk music comes from New York or England or whatever, and it kind of finally reaches the surfers and skaters, and then we do what we do with it. And in that wave was a lot of I mean, now just classic bands, like it would be TSOL and the Adolescents and Social Distortion, the list goes on, Black Flag even. But when it kind of hit like just semi-normal kids, like and everyone just sort of did what they did with it, and so yeah, I think about where we are in that, and I think a lot of it is timing, because we were kind of right there at the right time, and even though like certain classic status I wouldn't claim, but we were like amongst those bands, and you could see how they would stand out, like I remember we would open, we opened for all those bands and played on the same bill as everyone from the Misfits to Black Flag, Minor Threat, Circle Jerks, everybody. And you could just you could kind of just, looking back, you could kind of see the history in the making, and a lot of those records still hold up, and where I think, a lot of bands like ours, the production value kind of was hurting, but it sort of now defines the sound.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was interesting.
Are there any like shows or venues that like really stick out to you that, like, I'm trying to think. Like I grew up going to Showcase Theater in Corona, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what
that
was my home away from home. I lived like a mile away from there. My dad was a bouncer at the Cuckoo's Nest in Orange County.
Really?
Yeah. So he actually always says that 999 was the first punk rock band
that played there.
No, ever. And I'm just like, dude, no, that's not how that works.
Well, they had because that's always weird, the first punk rock band, because you could hear it coming,
Mm.
you know, like, and I remember like when I got that first stack of records, you know, Michael Jackson was on the radio, you know, it was disco was still happening. And I remember 999 had kind of a hit with Homicide, the song Homicide. And it was I remember being attracted to it because, you know, it's you kind of get eased into it. Like a lot of those English bands, they have melodies that you kind of had to have melodies back then. By the time it got to us, it was like almost unallowed, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I could see where somebody would say that, but it's just, you know, what someone like your dad, who would be the way he would at the Cuckoo's Nest, maybe that was like the first bigger band, probably I'm guessing like 78, 79 that played there.
Yeah, that I don't know.
That toured. But I went to the Cuckoo's Nest a bunch of times, and early on, but I saw the very first show with Rollins with Black Flag was there.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was at the Cuckoo's Nest in 1980, and I drove. I was living in San Diego for a little bit, and I drove up for that.
Wow.
And I met my friends from Oxnard because I went for a weekend, ended up staying down there. This was right before Ill Repute started.
Okay.
And so we drove up to that, and it was just, you know, I had known Rollins from his previous band SOA, and I liked them and loved Black Flag. Was a big fan of Dez, the singer of Black Flag, who was no longer the singer of Black Flag. So I kind of had a little sour spot for, you know, come on. But Dez moved to guitar, and then Rollins started singing. So yeah, your dad probably kicked me out or something. No,
he has some crazy like horror stories about just beating the shit out of people, and he has a really messed up story about the Ramones.
The Ramones played there?
Oh
wow.
Yeah, he said that they were beating up their girlfriend, so he had to beat them up.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
I mean, it's one of those things you'd have to. We're getting into personal stuff there. It's hard to weigh that in, but it was a very lawless place.
That's what it sounded like.
It had a weird feel. Like I don't know what it was. It felt like it was something that used to be a restaurant and closed down.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a you know, because it's far from here, you know, and we didn't go that much, but
he said there was like a cowboy bar next door or something, or like a cowboy restaurant or cowboy bar. So it was like the cowboys and like the punks, they would always like fight each other all the time. So he would just come home just like in other people's blood all the time. Like it sounded insane. I mean, he tells some pretty tall tales, but like, I don't know. I've had these stories corroborated. So
I always think of the Urban Struggle by the Vandals, you know, because I think they mentioned the Cuckoo's Nest.
Right.
And I remember seeing them. They were from down there, so yeah, they would probably know.
He had some really crazy stories.
I bet.
Well, it was so funny because, like, you know, he was a bouncer there, and so he was like, I never want my kids to be a punk rocker, right?
Yeah. Careful what you wish for.
And so I was going to shows and showcase and stuff, and I, you know, have my backpack of crazy stories now from there, and it's just like he's like, I never thought my kid was gonna be a punk and blah blah blah, and I'm just like, sorry, pal.
The showcase was a great venue too.
Yes, it was. It really was. Did you guys play there?
We did a couple times, and I remember I have a memorable thing. But this was later. This is probably this was in the 90s, and I went there because NoFX was playing, and those guys are friends. And a buddy of mine who actually would tour with him, it would work for him, was going down there, so I rode with him. Kind of a far drive it went, and we were hanging out in the back, you know, behind the doors, which you probably know, in that parking lot.
Oh, I know very well.
and we started talking to this guy I had never met, and he was real nice, and we were chatting about, and turned out he mentioned that he was in this kind of new band, Blink 182, and they had and he was sort of I wouldn't say bragging, but just kind of like, yeah, our record just sold 70,000, like a record. And he goes, and that's our new drummer right there. And it was Travis Barker. He was sitting on the hood of a car, like right there, and he was young.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
already still young, but
right.
he was young and still already tattooed and just had girls around him, and he was this skinny, in this classic form. And I remember just hearing that, going, wow. And I was already, our band was inactive at the time. We kind of, one of the times when we were kind of, so that was the showcase, and so that was a little memorable time there. And look where they went.
I know, that's crazy. Well, now,
He's in town too.
yeah, everybody.
I know.
It's crazy. And then NoFX is doing their film at the Playhouse. I just saw.
Is it?
I don't know if they're gonna be there, but
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, those guys are classic. Their book is really good. They wrote a book.
I haven't read it.
It has some great stories, and it's really well done. I mean, I told him when I saw him. I mean, and one of the last shows that we played was at the Pumpkin Drublic at the fairgrounds, and with NoFX and Pennywise and Face to Face, and but I just like, don't see those guys that much. So I was like, man, that book was great. It was so good. And I listened to the audiobook, and they all do their own,
oh, that's cool,
their own segments, but just like stories from the book that are so funny and so like almost unbelievable, but very vulnerable. Like stories, like one story that like Eric Melvin told, like where it was, wow, I'm not sure if, I would tell that, but it's not like, but the whole thing was left with a real like, you sort of love those guys more,
right? I mean, that's what happens when you read those books. It's like, I've been listening to so many like rock and roll memoirs, you know what I mean?
Me too.
I just finished Patty Schemmel's this morning.
Oh, really?
She's a drummer from Hole.
Oh, is that good?
It's
because
really good.
Because there's certain, like, I listen to some that wasn't really into the band that much, but word is that it was good. But yeah, I've listened to like some standouts.
Did you listen to Kim Gordon's?
Kim Gordon's, that's on the list.
That was really good too.
Yeah, and that's what's it called? Like what's it called?
Girl in a Band.
Girl in the Band.
That was really good. Laura Jane Grace was really good.
Yeah, I listen to.
Do you listen to books more than read them?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Because I like to go on bike rides and hikes, and I'll just stick it in there, or if that kind of thing, because time's a little limited. I have young kids, so it's like so if I have a couple minutes, if I don't want it just to be quiet, yeah, but yeah, it's I listen, and then I listen to autobiographies, like even outside of, like, it kind of led me outside of music, and there's some such wild ones.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like Mike Tyson's.
Oh, interesting. Really?
Oh my God. Well, I started with Muhammad Ali's, which was, I mean, we all know that he was a badass, in many ways, but when you listen to that, you realize what he was really up against. It's really good. When he, the racial stuff, when he came back after winning the Olympics, they have this big parade for him down Louisville, Kentucky, and he's like the hero, but then he can't eat in these restaurants. And then, but he had these big managers and said, you have any problems, you just call us. And so his friend was saying, hey, Cassius, call those guys.
Yeah.
And so he gets on the phone and starts calling, and then because some guy wouldn't let him eat in this restaurant, then he kind of talks and he hangs up, and his friend goes, what are you hanging up? He goes, what am I going to do, just sit in there?
Yeah. Like
the one black guy, and other black guys walk by and just see me sitting in there, and we think I'm going to enjoy that? He goes, hell no, Yeah. But it was just that, and his rise, and how he got banned from boxing for fighting the draft, and and then that led me to Mike Tyson's book, because how the Audible's good at it.
Yeah.
And that one blew my mind.
Huh.
Like, just how crazy.
Is he narrating it?
No.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah, I think he probably, maybe it's a voice. Yeah, it's a voice semi-similar, but not him. But yeah, it was funny, because it was it was, his life was so at a time where there was no social media, no cameras or anything.
Yeah.
So the stuff that he did, and he even says, if that was nowadays, that alone, I would have been in jail and this and that. So way sooner. Just like he got into financial problems once and sold 63 cars.
Oh my God.
So just crazy life. But anyway,
Well, he had suffered a great loss, though. Didn't he lose his kid too? Yeah. That's sad.
Yeah, got strangled on a treadmill. Yeah, a little baby. Yeah, it's full. But what's cool is like, because he's changed, he's aged and he's changed. Like when he went Muslim, because he was popular, he got to go to Mecca, and everybody, and every Muslim man, I think it's still like
you're like supposed to go or something, right?
Yeah, you go, but the most devout of the devout want to touch this stone and kiss the stone. And he said that Mike Tyson, because who I was, I got to go right to the stone. He goes, and here I am with my numb from coke, dirty lips. Like he was really quick, like touching that thing while there's like 2 miles of devotees that would die to do it, and here I am, and it was, so there was like a cool perspective of just how,
and self-awareness.
Yeah. But the one thing I liked is he wrote it from the spot back then. It wasn't like, oh, I did this. Every once in a while he would have a like kind of a reflective moment from the present, saying like, oh my God, could you imagine nowadays and this and that. But most of the time he just told the story so you could really experience how crazy.
Now I want to listen to it. That sounds good.
Fights, like he got picked on, speech impediment. He wore these big glasses, and he was dirty. He kind of like, he just didn't know his upbringing was, you can imagine. But he got picked on, and everybody. He wasn't a fighter, and he got busted for burglary and stuff, and he got sent to a juvenile hall where they had a boxing program. He was 12 or 13, 10, 12, 13. He was up there, and so he started boxing, and then the guy saw something in him and talked to a guy he knew who was Customato, which was had a heavyweight champion in the past, and he was aging, an old boxing guy that lived up there in upstate New York, because they sent him out of the city up to this juvie, and he goes, you might want to come see this guy. And he said, that guy came, watched him, and he just sat down, and he said, at 12 years old, and said, if you do what I say, you will be the youngest heavyweight champion in the world.
Wow.
He was 12. And Mike Tyson said he had never had anyone, one, pay attention to him, two, like even give him the slightest bit of respect or anything, like you have something, or other than just get out of here, you dirty,
Yeah.
So he said, I would have walked through a meat grinder for that man.
Oh.
And he stopped all his like stealing, and he just went and started training with him. And he was like, he said he would have, it was like the only love that he's ever felt.
Oh.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's a heavy book. And sure enough, he was the youngest heavyweight champion.
Crazy.
Anyway, I mean, it's just book review. Welcome to book review.
This pillow's driving me nuts. All right, let's talk about food and not books.
Okay.
For now. We can talk about books later.
And the cool thing is we're sitting in your restaurant right now.
I know, and I got this couch. I can't get comfortable in it right this second, though, unfortunately.
It's a cool couch.
I got it for free on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, yeah. I spent a lot of time there, too.
And it turned out that one of the bands that plays here is the bass player's couch.
Hey!
And they just played here the other night. They're like, there's my couch. She was all stoked. It was really funny.
Oh, that's good. Food.
And so you are vegetarian.
I am.
But you have not been a vegetarian forever, which I thought that you were for some reason.
No, I was raised, just on all the WT food that all of us, just, but I actually, at 24 years old, I is where I sort of, it was a sudden thing that I just had a weird realization on Sulphur Mountain Road of all places. I was 24 riding a mountain bike up there, and there was a cow in the trail that just stood there, and it was in the way, and I got down, and it let me come up and pet it, which now I realize that was kind of a trip, but I was petting the thing and looking at its big eye, and I just kind of started thinking, look, this is a bunch of hamburgers in here, and then I went, wow, yeah, this is a bunch of hamburgers, and it just was something just enough where I just stopped. I stopped eating it, and it just felt good at the time. And I don't know if it might have been a subject, like a little push on the subject. So I just stopped, and it's stuck. Here we are, like 40 years or something.
That's great. It must have been a lot harder back then, though, because I know I was vegan for a long time, the early 2000s, for like 11 years, and it was hard then.
Yeah.
Even, it's not at all what it is now.
Yeah, I was, I think, I know I continued to eat like tuna fish and stuff for a while. I remember I had a skate shop in Oxnard for a while, and the kids right across the street was a Subway. It was a brand new restaurant opened up, and I sponsored a couple of the kids that worked there, and they would just give me sandwiches. I would just so I would just eat for free, and I would just eat, but I was absolutely groveling, for a while there. So I don't even remember. I remember eating a lot of pasta and
potatoes.
I remember mixing pasta and beans together. Like
stoner food.
Yeah, it was like, and I think I was just craving protein, and then there was some tofu came into the play a little later, and but I think at the time I was just young, and you can eat anything, and kind of still survive. But I don't think it would be hard these days to stay healthy and not really put some thought into it, because I don't think I was. But anyway, and I did go vegan for a little while, for a few years, but then I kind of adapted that into getting some eggs from someone I knew that had a bunch of chickens, and I just didn't want to support like the corporate food. That was the main thing. So it wasn't like it wasn't, when I was vegan, I was, if I could get, like, I got eggs from a friend who was an egg farmer, but the chickens were just fully free ranging.
Yeah.
Up on Fairview.
Right.
And they would just die of old age, like he wasn't like, he didn't have some kind of big, factory farming thing. It was just, anyway, so that kind of already puts me in kind of a boring food category.
Not at all. I don't think so. I think it's actually a little bit more interesting, because it's like, because I was vegan for so long, the irony of having a barbecue restaurant is outrageous. But but that's my thing too. Like, I'm not going to eat meat that's like a factory farm. Like, and nothing here is. Do you know what I mean? Like, we make sure like everything is
right. Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I get it. It's not, it's the quality. Yeah, the quality of what has changed so much. With the availability of grass-fed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just part of me kind of almost wishes I was one of those guys that could hunt. But for something, it just doesn't feel right.
I understand that.
To me, to kill something, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are calling me a name right now, but no, but like, it just seems like a really clean way to eat, because even you figure when you eat tofu, you're killing how many ground squirrels, and how many, what's the water consumption of it,
right.
And what, it's not a clean thing to eat, but all that's kind of nicely hidden away from us.
Sure. Yeah.
But, so there's something about these guys that I know, mostly like celebrities that that go and, like, pro surfers and stuff that I know, that go and hunt, and they go and they kill a what is it, and it gets in the refrigerator, and it feeds their family for 6 months or something. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I guess it makes sense. If you can do that, great. But I feel like there's that other side of the coin, right? Where it's like you kill the animal and then you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. Like, you know, you can either, yes, you can do it and eat it, or you're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
That you can't bring yourself to actually do it.
I mean, I think, yeah. And it's probably, we are just so lucky we've never been hungry enough.
Sure.
You know, I think, especially being a father now, like, you would do anything to feed family, to feed yourself. And it's just gotten so, you know, it's, you know, we're in this civilization. It's so easy to eat, you know, like, so I kind of see, but I also kind of understand like the beauty of that, even though, you know, someone like Ted Nugent, you know, like that, you know, you would think that his morals are horrible, you know, and I know that I couldn't be a more different person, you know, there couldn't be a more different person than me and Ted Nugent. But when he talks about that, you know, he talks about, yeah, I go out, there's one thing dies, you know, and so that it's kind of like, it's sort of a kind of a sour pill to swallow a little bit, but yeah, but you know, luckily there's stuff like that, chickpea curry down the street that is vegan and is just mental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't eat it anymore.
You can't?
I've eaten it so much to where it's like I like gag if I drink.
Oh, I see.
It's too much.
I could see that. It's a pretty big taste, you know, and it's
delicious. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And I've just had it so much. My body just can't do it anymore.
I can understand. I've had it maybe 3 or 4 times because just in my current life situation, dining out, especially at a premier place like that, where my kid just wants grilled cheese or quesadilla or something, you know. But anyway, but
is your kid vegetarian too?
Yeah, my son is, but my daughter like eats. She says she's vegetarian, but then, you know, she goes to school at Miners, and you know she'll have chicken nuggets, and you know she's only 4, so she just hears the word, and we don't push. I mean, if I'd let, you know, I'm cool with her eating whatever she wants, you know, especially because I'd like as much nutrition to get into those kids, you know. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, interesting. But yeah, before, like when our band was touring, I remember one time being in Golden Gate Park or some little park.
Golden Gate Park is large.
Oh man, this was, yeah, we had played at the Mabuhay Gardens or something, and we were in the city, so we couldn't afford a hotel or anything. So we were in this truck, so we would just pull over, and we were sleeping in this park. And we had a can of Spam, talk about groveling, and a sterno, like regular sterno, and we were cooking it. Just on, I think it wasn't even a pan. I think we just found like a little street sign or something. Like,
oh God.
But anyway, and the reason I remember that is because I was dared to, there were these swans that were kind of coming around because they smelled food, and I was dared to feed one like from my mouth. So I kind of crawl out there, and I don't know if you've been close to one. They're like hideous, and they're huge.
A swan?
A swan's head has all kinds of stuff on it.
Oh, it does?
And it just came up, and, you know, and I was just holding my ground. So that, I mean,
did it do it?
Yeah, it came and got it from me.
Did it get your face? Did it get your face? No.
I mean, it did kind of hit me, but it didn't cut or anything. But it's just stupid things you do. But it made me remember.
I've been doing that with my dogs lately.
Oh yeah, I used to do it with my dog.
It's funny because it's funny that you mentioned this, because I just started doing it like 2 days ago with like dried mangoes.
Oh, really? Your dog eats? Yeah.
They love them. They love them as much as we do. Like, we have like a weird addiction to dried mangoes.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you dry them yourself?
No. No time.
Because I get the Trader Joe ones.
No, the ones from Vaughn's, the organic ones,
really?
Like the pink bag.
Oh.
How many bags do we have of that in our cupboard right now? Like 8? It's outrageous.
Oh man.
Because you gotta pinch it.
Yeah.
If you don't pinch it, you get the dry one.
Yeah, but you want the dry ones. You don't want like the tart ones, or the ones that you can't like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because the ones in Trader Joe's are all sugared up and stuff, I think, huh?
Yeah, these don't have any added sugar or
Good,
anything. Yeah, and it's really funny that because David, the Jackass guy, is that his name?
Dave England?
Yeah, yeah. We were both looking for the mangoes at Vaughn's one time. I was gonna text it to you the other day, but it was way too long. And like, uh, I'm like, where? He's like looking. I'm like, dude, I can't find the. I'm like, are you looking for the mangoes? I can't. And then I didn't realize who it was until I was like, are you looking for the mangoes too? And then he was like, yeah. Couldn't find them. And then I found some, and then I found him in the store. I'm like, here, I found some mangoes. Here's some mangoes. He's like, oh, okay, thanks. So then months go by, and I see him again, and I like grab some mangoes. I'm like, here, dog, I know that you like mangoes. He's like, what the fuck?
Oh.
It was really funny.
Yeah, I think he hasn't eaten any sugar in a year or something.
Well, he's definitely eating dry mangoes.
Yeah. I mean, but any added sugars or anything?
You know, I've been trying to do that, and Namari has sugar in it. Like, sugar is certainly my weakness because ever since I quit drinking, it's like I want sugar.
Yeah.
And you've never drinking,
No.
though, huh?
No, that's a whole crazy story of its own. But
Tell me all about it.
yeah, I mean, you know, and it was funny because when I was 16, we went to a party, and it's right about where you start drinking.
Right.
Then I don't know what the age is for starting drinking now, but then it was like around 16.
People aren't drinking anymore.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Crazy.
And so we had a Mickey's Big Mouth, which you might
familiar. Yeah.
And my dad was a big drinker, and I wasn't, and that wasn't a good. That wasn't, and we didn't have a good thing back then. I'll just leave it at that. Most people in punk bands might have to
Right.
say the same thing, but and so I had my Mickey's Big Mouth drinking, and some friend had one too, and so we're starting to sip it, and my friend had a cigarette and the beer, and it has a certain smell that was reminding me of my dad.
Oh.
And I literally threw it. I can still see it hit the ground, which you know, because you know, as you get older, you kind of think about the things you do, especially, you know, kind of when you have kind of the hindsight. And I see it, and I can still see it in my head hitting, and friends going, what the fuck? Like I was wasting. What'd you do that for? And I just said, because I don't drink that stuff anymore. And I had 3 sips. You know, so there, you know, you can get weird with that. So then, and it was out of fear of being him, you know, like, so a lot of times people, oh, that's so cool, you did that. And I was going, you know what, it doesn't feel good to do things out of fear.
Right.
You know, like, it's because, you know, I think about my kids, and I don't want them to be afraid of anything.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you don't want them to do drugs or, I mean, whatever it is. But it was weird to, like, all my friends were just doing the heaviest drugs leading on to that. And yeah, I come from a lot of alcoholic, you know, grandparents and stuff that never, you know, I already outlived them all, you know, the kind of thing. But so I mean, I see the benefit of that. Like, I'm sure, because I have an addictive personality, I'm sure it wouldn't have been pretty, but there was that line, and I was too stubborn. Like, after a while, people were saying things, you know, hey, come, you know, no, but so I was just known. And I would love to do crazy stuff, you know. People still laugh. Friends go, "I can't believe you did all that stuff and you were sober."
Yeah.
But so where are we going with that? Oh yeah. So time went on, and I felt kind of, you know, I kind of felt like I was missing out a little bit. But I knew that, you know, because I was pretty messed up as a kid. You know, I had some anxiety and some, you know, I was there was some kind of damage done, but so then, like 19, you know, we start, the band starts, you know, we've been going for a while, and all of a sudden Minor Threat shows up. And it's like, oh, that's what John is, you know, like, because they come up and they talk about being sober.
Right.
You know, and it was like, yeah, and suddenly I was like, oh man, John, yeah, John's been hip to that for a while, or, you know, like, suddenly I was like kind of cool again, you know. And of course, Minor Threat were just like undeniable. Like, it seemed like, you know, because, you know, it was very against the grain, you know, like, and And, yeah, I know that they had 2 or 3 songs that mentioned that. For the most time, it was like pretty relatable stuff. But they were against the grain. But man, they were undeniable. Even to this day, it's like everybody just couldn't, certain songs that even though they didn't jam it down anyone's throat. I know it got really misconstrued, but anyway, so that's kind of where that happened. So that was sort of like I don't know if I would have started drinking or something any time in the past, but that was sort of a little bit of something that kind of pushed it on. And then as time went on, I was, into surfing and skating, and it wasn't conducive to my lifestyle. Like, how there's kind of like punk rock was here, and I was also just into surfing and skating. And so
I mean, you said you had an addictive personality. Are those things that you would consider yourself somewhat addicted to? It's like these activities, or
well, like, for instance, I got into, like, I'll get into, like, I got into running on the beach, and then like I was surfing and it was flat, and so I had a dog and I would run him on the beach. Then I started running, like saying, and I think it was just like that high you get. So I was always into fitness and always into, so I started getting into some endurance stuff, and I was like, ding, 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 and I was addicted to it. And I was everything from triathlon to big rock climbs with friends, and just like these things. And I now have 2 artificial hips.
Oh,
because I talk about addicted personality. Instead of my liver wearing out,
something's got to go.
Yeah, so I'm able to talk about it, live to talk about it, because we know there's a lot of carnage in the punk world.
Sure.
Buddies from RKL and Aggression, and there's a lot of people gone, but liver failure and things like that. But yeah, so it was sort of a bit of a fairy godmother situation in a way, whatever that was. And my dad's gone, but I consider that a good lesson from him, because I don't think my life would have been as happy and as good as it turned out if I would have followed the family history and overdid that.
Yeah.
But you never know. But that's just where I sit now. But yeah, it is interesting to look back, and I don't regret anything.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I quit drinking, because that's what I come from, a long line of a lot of, like, especially women in my family being big drinkers, alcoholics. So now it's kind of, and then I know when I quit drinking, it was just like, what? Like, why? What happened? It's like, why? I'm like,
yeah.
And then and then people say, oh, congratulations. And it's just like, for what though? Like, that always really bothered me when people say congratulations. It's like,
but it's kind of, I think in a way it's kind of, when I hear that, it's it comes from that you had things in your life that were important enough to you where you didn't want that to interfere.
Right.
So that's, and I know a lot of people, they don't have that, like, or they don't see it or something. And I don't know what it was for you, but that whatever it is that that did it. I have a really good friend who I actually made a short film about, this woman Becca, who was the most punk rock person in Ventura, California, and she worked for BYO, and she was moved to LA right away, and she just was the most rad. She is the most rad, but she was just, and she just, the way that she said it, she was pushing it in drugs and pills, and I think she had some heroin stuff, and then she said she just woke up and she goes, I'm done.
Yeah.
She goes, it wasn't no big aha moment. It was just like, I'm beaten down. She had a son that she realized their son, was with the father because she didn't, and she just, like, all of a sudden she did that, and she did a full about face, and she had gotten heavy. She was, she lost 100 pounds. She got a PhD.
Wow.
And she now works helping people, getting,
Wow.
in addiction. Yeah, she's a
That's incredible.
Becca Porter. She's in Ventura. I made a little film about 3 people, and she was one of them. And yeah, it's really impressive. And
That's really cool.
she's just epic. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's I know it's a big thing of our time. Like when they look back on like America, or this, it's like a big time where, like you said, a lot of youngsters don't drink.
No.
I mean, it seems like you might have enough information, enough data to make an intelligent decision about certain things, like not smoking or this or that. But yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. I could just one day at night, I was like, "That's it. I'm out. I'm done," and I just stopped. That was it. I never had another drink
Did
again.
you know? Have you met Saw yet?
Yeah, this happened at Duchess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I quit a little over 3 years ago.
And you were the bartender there. I mean,
yeah, I was running the whole bar program.
I mean, it's too fancy to call a bartender. It's like a mixologist is the term.
It's not as, I mean, I guess it's fancy, but it's not like.
No, it's not stuffy, but it's very it's not
it's
a
quality.
It's not like the hub.
No.
It's not
this
a bar.
This is more like the hub without a bar, though.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say this, but yeah, but
we were going for somewhat divey for this place because we love divey. We love dive bars. We like gritty, grimy kind of stuff. So we wanted to have like the Duchess be like our fancy.
And I like it's just like perfectly clean. It just has a it has a feel. Yeah,
a little edge to it.
Yeah, it feels like I'm trying to think of what does it feel like the Viper Room a little bit.
I've heard that before.
Before the Viper Room was called the Central. Before the Viper Room.
I didn't know that.
I think Johnny Depp bought it. But you want to hear a funny punk story about the Viper? Okay, before it was the Viper, it was called the Central, and we were at a show at the Whiskey, which is across the street a little bit, and something went down where there was a Volkswagen caught fire in a gas station, and we were standing by it, and it was just sort of crazy because it was burning, and the girl was freaking out, and we were kind of trying to help.
And it's at a gas station.
What's that?
The whole thing will blow up if it's at a gas station.
No, it wasn't close to the pumps. It was it was right kind of like almost rolled into the street, you know, but it wasn't blocking traffic, but it was right on the sidewalk. And
outside Viper Room, like at that corner.
Yeah, it was kind of somewhere in that block. And I don't know if the gas station's even there anymore, but
I think there is a gas station right on that corner.
And things were getting crazy. Things were starting to get crazy for other reasons. And there's a couple of buddies, man. One was a singer of Wasted Youth named Danny. And he came walking up, and I was with John Macias from Circle One, and who I'm sure people might know. He's this crazy guy. But anyway, Danny picks up a bottle, like a beer bottle. He throws it across the street and just shatters a store front window. And I was like, oh my God, it's getting out of hand. Then all of a sudden, things just started going wild. And then we started walking down, me and John Macias and my friend Tony, and we go by the Central, and the Central had a door. It was like, they don't use that door as much. It's right on Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset. And there was a bouncer standing there, and he was just like this big jock, and John Macias was scary looking. He was big, muscular, and just as punk as they get. And I see the bouncer look at us and looks back, kind of like trying to be cool, but he knows there's the whole street's going a little crazy. We get a little closer, and I was watching. I was kind of watching it, and then he finally makes the decision. Fuck this, and he just hurries up and closes the door. Like when we're like 10 feet away.
The bouncer.
Yeah. And John Macias wasn't going to do anything.
Right.
But that was like riling him, so he ran over there, grabbed the door, and he pulled it totally off the hinges. Totally, and threw it into the middle of Sunset. Totally off the hinges.
What?
I was like,
how is that possible?
I don't know, but I mean, you see this
I don't
guy,
know.
he pulled it, the whole thing came down, and then he ends up picking it up and throwing it out there, and I looked into the club, and not a soul in sight. Like
Oh my
whoever it was
God.
just ran. But yeah, there was a lot of there's a lot of times like that. But anyway, yeah, that was the central and the Viper room. It kind of has this cool feel with but the bathroom's cleaner here.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, we do serve food. We
I was
need
gonna
to
say.
be clean.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah, let me see what else we got.
Everything's still rolling, Rob?
Good talk.
I know. I'm not sure how it is to view it, but it was.
Okay. What are the top 5 meals that have completely shifted your view on what like food could be?
Top 5 meals.
Yeah.
Man,
I also want to know top 5 bands too.
oh.
That might be easier.
Yeah, I mean, that's not that easy. They're both hard, because my music tastes have, they kind of go all over the place.
And it depends on your mood, I'm sure too, but still.
Yeah,
but you have to have a top 5.
Yeah, I can definitely come up with a top 5. But food-wise, I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, I've been ever since like early on. I've been like conscious of eating. I'd say for many years eating clean, or what I thought was clean. And so, looking back, a lot of it wasn't. Like especially being vegetarian, but I was always into salads.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never been into salads.
And I was very like a dog eating the same thing over and over. So I'm not. I mean, I wouldn't say. Not until I came to Ojai that I would say that I was a foodie. The first big breakthrough I had was my discovery of Thai food in Ventura, California. Just so you didn't get that city mixed up with any other Ventura. No, but I was at Tip's Thai Food, and I'd never had it. Like we didn't venture out much as kids with food, and but I remember Thai food just blew my mind, and then that led me to Indian food. That's when I realized like we would go to this Indian place in Oxnard. It was this little hole in the wall way back when, and it was so spicy and so good. It felt like a psychedelic.
You like spicy?
I do. And but it was so good, and I'm like, oh my God. And so we had a Thai restaurant and an Indian place that was just mind-boggling. So that was the first thing that kind of turned me. And then but then when I moved to Ojai, I kind of wanted to be closer to like farms. So I got like organic food, and I went to the farmer and the cook, because to me that was like the epitome of like 15-acre farm and a store that cooks it and makes it and sells it. And then I got to be good friends with Steve, and we started surfing together, and I volunteered a lot on the farm, and I actually worked the farmer's market for 4 years with him when I first moved to town.
Oh.
It was so fun. I met everybody in town, and but so being around Olivia, his wife, and the cook of the farm and the cook, and eating her like semi-simple but really good, and the spices, and she's from Colombia, so we would she would have these certain meals where she would make like weekends. She would have a special menu that ventured for a long time, and I don't think she does it anymore, but man, it was like I would always eat something that would just blow my mind, and like the hot sauce or the salsa that she would make, so Ojai's where I was older, and I was just getting around food, and so that was the place when I started looking at like quality instead of just quantity, just trying to get it. We grew up lots of Mexican food in Oxnard, Sal's Mexican Inn, which I'm sure nowadays would taste pretty cardboardish, but we'd go to some of those authentic places downtown, and yeah, just we're loving it. So, but here is where, where I kind of discovered, I'd say a new level of food. And then in the last couple of years, I mean, the restaurants in Ojai just have stepped up. Like seems like since there's kind of been an influx of money in town too, and influence and people wanting to live here, you have a lot of restaurants that I think you have to kind of step it up to kind of stay in the ranking.
Yeah.
I would think nowadays. Would you agree on that?
I would agree with that.
You kind of, you have to come with, like Joplin's with your, the cleanest meats and barbecue and the slow cooking. And, I know Saw's out there in the middle of the night, like starting. Remember when I shot video of him? Yeah. He was like, I think he had been going since 2 a.m. He started
something like that. Yeah. Fortunately, we have somebody that comes early to do it now. So
yeah,
it's not just him all the time. But
yeah.
Is there anything that you don't want, like just will not eat or don't like? I mean, obviously you don't eat meat, but like as far as veggies and stuff.
Yeah. No, like what I've been, what I eat is mussels. And I think when we worked together that night and we had to wait for the room, you actually brought the mussels. You kind of ordered a bunch of stuff from the menu.
Oh, that's right.
And the mussels, I was in New Orleans on a job, and a lot of times, the client will take us out to nice places if you're on a decent budget job, when those used to exist. But there was a restaurant there that, the local people that we were working with recommended this place, and they had these baked mussels with this sauce on it that was unbelievable,
So you do like mussels?
Yeah.
Okay. When was the first time you had them?
I was like growing up clam chowder and stuff, so it wasn't like, but I never knew about mussels. So do you do
seafood?
That I do.
That, okay.
But, and it's kind of interesting because I work as a videographer and an editor, and I went to this place in New York called the Omega Institute with this doctor named Drew Ramsey. He's an MD, a psychiatrist, and he wrote a book called Eat to Beat Depression. And he's like became the ultimate foodie, but he talks with people. He works with clients and with their diet, but it was he did this retreat type of thing, or this, I guess you can call it a workshop or something. It was a couple days in this retreat center in New York, where doctors come from all over to hear, because he's become the cutting edge of this guy with his book and his studies, and talking about how food affects, and it's kind of makes sense. Like you put something bad into a car, it's not going to run,
right.
So, but he was doing these big studies, and there wasn't a lot of studies, but about how certain foods that affect your brain and your mood. And like he said, he can change someone's diet, and took them off Prozac.
Huh.
So because people were eating so bad.
Sure.
So one of the things, and I've, it's a bunch of doctors, so the information was coming pretty high, and I was trying to glean what I could out of there. And he really raved about mussels. He said that the I guess it would be like the omegas in there, or it's very good for the brain, and salmon was too, which I don't really eat salmon that much, but the Mediterranean diet with bits of the sea, he really specified that. So, and then I had the mussel experience in New Orleans, and so now I try a couple times a week. I try to have those.
Do you cook them at home, or do you go out and get them?
I cook them at home.
Okay.
It's not that glamorous, but it's
no. I mean, because that's not like the average thing to like make.
I know, and it's mostly because when I first started eating them, I kind of always had to have like them on bread or something, something. But now I usually I have quinoa. I'm a big fan of quinoa, and I will just cook the mussels with lots of lemon and garlic. Like the neighbor has a great tree, and I go out there.
We have a ton too. If you ever need.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. And so I really have to cut it. Lots of black pepper. I've been into that lately. So so that's the kind of thing. And I always throw in an avocado and some soy sauce on there.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm not like the oyster kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's really my jam. But they have to they have to be. I cook them well too. You know, and they don't taste. They're not gummy or anything.
Sure.
They're kind of nice with the soy sauce. And
Huh.
anyway, but you know what? One thing that really blew my mind is early on in food.
Well, hold on before you go there. Do they make you feel happier when you eat them?
You know, I don't know. I can't make that call. But according to the studies that I saw, and it wasn't just it wasn't all just happiness. Like he talked about a lot of things. You know, like and when he talks about eating to be like as you know as thorough as possible, he was eating like a lot of stuff. Like he would eat red meat, like a small piece of grass-fed high quality red meat, lots of plants. He goes eats mostly plants.
Yeah.
But he would have a small, like, and it was a small chunk like this, and but lots of, you know, he would, you know, it's a big Mediterranean diet, so lots of some stuff from the sea, like avocados and olive oil, all that. He was, you know, raving about a lot of the stuff that we eat around. But when I went to India when I was, I don't know, 30 or something, 35, and I was there when 9/11 happened. But I was in a town and I kind of was just rambling because I had been surfing in the Maldives and I was on my way to Bali and I was stopping at some places. I go, I'm here, I gotta go check out India. So I drop in there and I was in this town and I had a Lonely Planet book and I went to this restaurant and it was like, oh my God, I changed my itinerary so I could eat there the next day. So I was going, wow, I am a foodie.
Oh wow. What'd you get?
It was some kind of curry. I think it might have been, I don't know if it was a yellow curry or something, but it was, you know, it was in Jaipur and it was just, it just really, it was incredible. And so I had to stay and I had to order the same thing, you know, and I was, you know, that's how I am in a lot of places, like with the chickpea, you know, like with the naan, you know, I was kind of like stuck there, but anyway, yeah. So it's funny how that, you know, how my upbringing, you kind of eat for survival, you know, like we had as kids, it was like a rotation of, you know, English muffins with tuna fish and whatever my mom would make, you know, interesting things. But
I know, I think about the stuff that we had growing up and I'm just like, I can't believe they had us. I mean, I remember drinking like 2 liters of soda out of like the jug.
Wow.
Oh, it's so bad. And just junk food.
Yeah.
You know, I can't eat like that now. Yeah, you know, it's just crazy.
But I mean, you think about like, you wonder like what, like I think like you got the magic bullet somehow. Like somehow you figure, somehow in your life you like steered yourself into like a healthy situation.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, and our upbringings probably are different times, but probably sound like there might be some parallels there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that you end up, you know, get into punk rock and you know those kind of things because something's not, you know, I don't know, but it seems like somehow, you know, just through the course of events, with me, a lot of big thing was surfing. You know, like you would see your friends, they would get drunk, and then you'd be out there and get up in the morning and go out when it's good. And where are they? You know, you feel, so it was like kind of, it's just a very, you know, immature kind of reasons, but ultimately you look back, you're going, wow, well, that's sort of what life's about. You had
more life than everybody else at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, and also, but from, you know, when I look at my you know, family background, I dodged a bullet there, I think.
Yeah, it's breaking the cycle, you know, and it's.
Yeah, I know. I definitely did that. Yeah, but.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's like it's this. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just all you know. You know what I mean? And then, like even with like eating and stuff, right? It's like I went vegan when I was 17 or something.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that's kind of what led me to eating healthier. And, you know, I've always had like body image stuff, you know, and I'm a girl. I grew up in the 90s. It was
Yeah,
pretty
of course.
fucked
Oh,
up,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, we all had that too, you know. Yeah.
So it's like running and exercising and eating as clean as I can. And, you know, I mean, obviously, I mean, not obviously, but, you know, I got a little lax. Obviously, I eat meat now and stuff, but I'm not going to eat not going to go get you know, McDonald's and frap, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Also, yeah. And so, yeah, I was just curious, like, so when you met Saul, he was a chef. So
he was my chef. I was a line cook.
in
That's
LA?
how we met. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So were you already kind of into a food space at that point?
Yeah. So I went vegan young. Had to teach myself how to cook because my mom was like, I don't know how to help you.
Yeah.
All she knew was like make potatoes. So she was making me potatoes every day.
Yeah.
All different kinds. And she always said, if you're ever really poor, always have potatoes because you can bake them, you can fry them, you can mash them, you can do all different things with potatoes. So that's why I can't eat potatoes anymore because I've been poor for so long. No, but so she made me potatoes and I had to teach myself how to cook. And so, and then I was bartending and I was, you know, I started making my own food and bringing my own food to work. And my regulars and stuff would be like, oh, what are you eating? And then I was raw vegan for a while. And I was bringing that stuff like, oh, can you bring me this? Can you make me that? And I'm like, I have to start like charging you. I can't keep doing this. And so I ended up starting like I started a vegan catering business.
Oh, really?
Because nobody would hire me.
Ah.
So because I didn't have any experience. And I'm like, well, how am I going to get experience if nobody's going to hire me? And so that's kind of how I got my foot in the door. And then I got a job at Moby's vegan restaurant in LA in Silver Lake. And the chef there was opening a restaurant in Santa Monica, or he was becoming the chef at one. And he was like, do you want to come? I said, sure. So I went. So he brought me and he brought Saw because they had worked together before. And so I was in a relationship, Saul was in a relationship, but we both broke up with our partners around the same time. We kind of got ourselves out of it, and like that's what happened.
Yeah, similar with mine too. Like we knew each other for a couple years, but not in that context. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's a Cliff Note version, but it's a really interesting, weird coincidence. Yeah. And even like recently, even to this day, we're just like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Like, this is so weird, you know? And now here we are.
And how and who and is the Duchess why you came to Ojai?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we moved up here to open the Duchess.
Wow.
And then and then I stopped drinking and then started Namari.
Does Saw drink?
Yeah.
Were you like, maybe did you feel you were overdoing it and he wasn't? Or is it just something like, or is it just something you took a stand against, or were you overdoing it?
I was certainly overdoing it. But there was one thing, I was extremely hungover for the all staff meeting and it showed, and I was one that planned this whole meeting and was like gung-ho about it, and
little wake up moment.
And then I had to leave early. I was like, I can't. I was like, it was so bad. I was so embarrassed. It was just so bad. And then I was like, I'm out. I'm done. And so then I told, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm going to stop drinking and I don't want to do the bar program anymore. And the GM at the time was like, oh, this is a knee-jerk reaction. Don't say that. Don't do that. And I was like, no, like, I have to, this is my life, you know, and I haven't had a drink since. And then I started Namari. That's how that came about. And then we're masochists and we're like, let's open another restaurant. Like, we're not working enough, you know? And then fuck it, let's start a podcast to add to it.
I know.
So no, but it's all good.
No, you had to start the podcast because the only way you could talk to people, because you're too busy. You're always too busy to do anything. So yeah, I need some adult conversation.
Yeah, that's not like transactional, you know.
Who's your favorite band? If you had to pick one, who would it be?
Florence and the Machine.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And and
What about you?
you know, I like Soundgarden. You know, like
We
there's
got Chris Cornell right there too.
I know. I mean, because for me, coming out of punk rock, like,
That was what I wanted to ask you. What are you listening to now?
you know what I'm listening to now? Bob Vylan.
I've heard of Bob Dylan. I
Oh
haven't
my
heard
God.
it though.
I'm like infatuated with
Oh,
Bob
okay,
Dylan.
okay.
The song called "We Live Here."
What kind of? Oh, wait.
Bob Vylan with a V, right?
Okay, hold on. Tell me about them.
Well, it's a duet, and they're English,
Okay.
and they're black, but the main singer, there's a drummer and a singer, and the rest is kind of like a DJ situation.
Do they have costumes?
No.
Okay.
Oh, those crazy guys?
Like they have with like horse heads or something?
No. This is just a very
Oh, no, maybe not
a
horse.
very aggressive band, and they sing about social issues. They actually lost their American visa because of their stance with the Palestinian Israeli situation.
Okay.
They're very, very outspoken about genocide.
Okay.
And I know it's a big subject, but I think most people are, when it comes to killing children, you might, if you're on the fence about that, you might need to check some things.
Yeah.
You know, like, but it's really good.
Okay, I'll have to check it out.
Just like simple lyrics, punk rock, simple lyrics, but not simple. You know, really well done. It's like he's a poet. The
I'm
dude's a poet.
excited.
Yeah, I'll show you. There's a video called "We Live Here."
Okay.
And it talks about, like, you know, like being treated as a black man in England, growing up in this city, and the chorus is, "We didn't appear out of thin air.
Yeah.
We live here. Like, it was great before you got here." You know, he tells people, you know, and he talks, you know, it's really good. Another song called "He's a Man," about like a stereotypical man, you know, like, and he's this like handsome, kind of big, muscular, and I hear they meditate before shows, and you know, they're young, different minded kind of people than I think a lot, but yeah, that's been my latest attraction. And I also am a big fan of Ice Cube.
Okay.
And Public Enemy.
Yeah.
But I was excited about Bob Vylan because they're new.
Yeah.
And I have trouble like really connecting with new music, you know.
Sure,
like
yeah.
I go backwards, you know, and one thing that happened through my entire life with punk rock, I missed a lot. And when I miss, so I go back and I discover things that, and I try to find, you know, like things like Neil Young, people like Neil Young, you know, and just and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and just like, and exploring these things, because, and some of it resonates and some of it doesn't. Like you know, Grateful Dead, for instance, I'd listen, and I not in the jam bands, but there's a couple like songs and situations where you kind of appreciate. So I'm not. It's interesting not to be like punk rocker, you know.
No.
And
because you are so pigeonholed at the time that
right.
you just miss out on everything else.
Exactly.
And I'll never forget my uncle, because I was like, I'm fucking punk rock, you know, whatever. And he was like, you know, there's a lot more than just punk rock.
Yeah.
While he's like drunk in the backyard, like doing a cappella at Desperado. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But
growing
but now
up,
you get to hear it all for the first time now, which is really fun.
Yeah, it's cool. Like what was it that I kind of was getting into, you know, and I just, you know, I realized that I just like passionate music.
Yeah.
And like when it was like early on, like Black Flag, Jealous Again, when their singer was, you just felt it. Like, you know, like he was just like just throwing himself out there. And then even people like Ray LaMontagne, like his mellow songs when he's singing about, and even early on James Taylor, where it just was coming from real suffering, and you know, and I think that I use music to kind of to escape, what was going on in my life. And sometimes when I was young, when you're young, you're angry. I was angry, so I was like some people like party music, like that's still it's not the kind of why I listen to music. It's kind of like when I'm listening to the stuff that really gets me moving is the stuff when people are addressing problems and they're using music like Ice Cube, like some of the stuff that he's just addressing, and just that he puts everything from humor to just just really awesome stuff. So I would say that that those are the, like, I know Soundgarden never seems to stop amazing me. Like when I hear certain songs by them, it's like every once in a while you hear a song and afterwards you just have to say fuck.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Florence, because it's like, it's like pretty and melodic and stuff, but then you like really like listen and you're like, oh my god, like this is dark. You know what I mean? Like it's really, really.
Yeah.
And then I also really love Against Me.
Oh, Against Me, yeah.
I mean, I was seeing them at like the Glass House back in the day, and like those shows, it's like what you were saying, it's just like there's so much passion, like everybody there knows every word, every song, and it's just like it's almost like you're at church.
I know. I sort of miss that era a little bit because of my age, but those, all those bands, and I listen to them, and it's hard because coming from where I come, it's hard to like listen to punk, but one of my favorite is NoFX The Decline.
Okay.
You ever heard that? It's a 20-minute it's 20-minute song.
No, I haven't then.
It's really good, and it maneuvers in and out of different songs, but different sounds.
Mine was Moran Brothers. That was my favorite note.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But this one is, the lyrics are good, and it goes through. It's really good. But
what's your favorite Ill Repute song?
Oh man, there was a song called Wayward that I liked on What Happens Next. That was, and even when I don't really remember when we like recorded it and did it, but when we were playing semi in the recent time, it's just so like barely on the rails. Like it was just so. It's kind of like if you were to try to find a song that would like annoy your grandmother, this would be like a contender, like, and it's just so like it's just so unhinged, but that's the one that comes to mind. But there's so many, but one cool thing is, I don't know if but if we talked about this, but the TV show Stranger Things bought a song from us.
I think I did know that.
Yeah, and this song "Clean Cut American Kid," which was our first thing we ever recorded. We got chosen by Rodney Bingenheimer from Rodney on the Rock to be on a compilation, and that was like we were in the garage still.
That's
and
crazy.
Our friend Meg, who lived in LA, gave a demo to and Clean Cut American Kid was sort of this 2-chord, just sort of fun makeup. I'd make up words as we went along. It was just sort of like Clean Cut American, so, and he liked that one. I remember thinking, that one? Like, because we had all these aggressive, like, super hard, but he liked it. So we ended up going into a studio in Hollywood or LA somewhere, and with, producers and everything, and actually a real recording session. We had just done demos up to then. And it's that version, and that's it was cool. On the record, and, it's on the record, these like Black Flag and all these big bands around these comps. So it really bumped, we were suddenly like on the radio in LA. So they use that one. And another show called Glow, I don't know if it's Glorious Ladies of Wrestling. It was a new
I watched that. Yeah.
Newer show, and they bought a song too. And it's usually like, because someone can be listening to it and it makes, there instantly can be defined as a troublemaker or worthy of death or worried of getting a good beating or something, or it's good character development very quick.
That's so funny, huh?
But it was cool because it got on some playlists and stuff, and we had over 1 million streams on Spotify of that song.
That's awesome. So. Well, make that money.
Yeah, all that money. I don't think anything's come. I mean, we got money from the Stranger Things thing, but the Spotify is, I think
they barely pay their.
You probably
artists,
have, probably Taylor Swift probably, makes $100,000 a year off of it or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped using Spotify. That's one of the reasons why I stopped using Spotify.
Yeah, I never had it, but
I forgot what I was going to say. Well, but this was fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys don't ever play anymore at all?
No, we officially stopped a couple of years ago.
You guys should have a reunion show here.
Well, if we can pull it together, it would be great. It'd be a great place to do it.
I think that would be so fun.
Our music and
I'm putting
food,
it in the universe.
Our music and food together just usually doesn't go so well. But yeah, that would be fun.
I think it would be cool. Well, thank you for coming on our silly little podcast.
It's so fun to be here.
Well, thank you.
And I was thinking, I can't wait to see who else ends up here on this
couch.
Yeah, on the couch.
Well, thanks, John. I really appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome.
Yay.
Great to see you. Yeah.